a few years back, some friends invited my family and I to go away for the weekend to West Virginia. Now, I was a little bit apprehensive because West Virginia does have a reputation for not really liking people that look like me. I mean, we were going to some white folks' house that I had never met before, staying with them over the weekend, so my racist radar was in full effect. We can tell when we're in a situation where it's somebody who doesn't really want to be around us. We know when someone's a racist. We've lived this life for so long, we just know. I really didn't know what to expect when I arrived at their home. But guess who came to the door? Big Hank and Little Trudy. I was watchful, and throughout the night, I began to see that Hank seemed to be pretty comfortable around us. I asked him a question. I wanted to know his story. So he told me about the first time he saw a black man when he was a little boy, like, 6 or 7-year-old kid. He said he was at a gas station with his daddy, and lo and behold, he sees this black man. So he runs to his daddy. He's like, "Daddy, you gotta come and see this, Daddy." He's like, "Boy, what are you talking about?" "It's a chocolate man, Daddy. It's a chocolate man." "A chocolate? What? Boy, come on." So he grabs his daddy's hand and he leads him around the bend and he goes, "There he is, Daddy, there he is. It's a chocolate man." And his daddy's like, "Oh, what?" He said, "Boy, that ain't no chocolate man. That's one of God's creations, just like I'm one of God's creations. Just like you one of God's creations. God made us all different, but he made us all the same." He said throughout his entire life, that's what he always lived by. When he told us that story, it made me think about this story that my mom told me. I was going to go visit my mom one day. I get to her house and she was in the kitchen just finishing watching up on some inspirational TV show. And there was a man who was telling this story about this conversion that he had from this really horrible man to this, pretty decent guy. So he told about the first time he ever saw a black man. So here he is with his father. So he's at let's call it the gas station. And lo and behold, there he is. So he runs to his daddy and grabs his daddy's hand. He says, "Daddy, you gotta come and see this man." "Boy, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Daddy, he looks different. You gotta come and see this man." Grabs his daddy's hand. And he's like, "Daddy, there he is, there he is." Wait. Oh. "Come over here, boy." And he whispers a message in his son's ear to go and deliver to this man. Now, this little boy is so excited because he ain't never seen a man like this before. I mean, this was a special occasion. He had to make sure he got the message right. So he rehearsed the message over and over and over as he walked towards the man. The man was so excited and happy. I imagine this man was probably happy over the fact that here he is in the middle of the Deep South, in a place where they would lynch a man like him for even thinking he did something wrong. But here they are, sending this little boy with this big smile on his face. I mean, that's like sending an olive branch. So he felt, okay, maybe I'm safe here. So I imagine he probably leaned into the little boy as the boy approached and he probably said, "Hey there, whippersnapper." And the boy was ready to deliver his message. And with a huge smile on his face, he took a deep breath and he said, "Nick!" But he said as soon as he said it, he knew something was wrong. He wasn't supposed to be looking at him like that. The way the man looked at him made him think about that time when he pulled little Sally Sue's pigtails so hard she turned and looked at him and said, "Well, you're such a bad boy." And he could only think of one thing. He must have said the word wrong. He must have got it wrong. So he turns to go back to his daddy. To his surprise, his daddy was looking at him with such admiration, with such pride. And his daddy said, "That's my boy. That's my boy." Well, after a while, he knew how to make daddy happy. Anytime he saw anybody that remotely looked like that black man, he would go to his daddy. "Daddy, you want me to say it? You want me to say it, Daddy? You want me to say it?" And his daddy was like, "Yeah, boy, say it." Well, eventually, he didn't have to get his daddy's permission. He said it when he would be walking to school. He said it when he was at school. He said it on his job. He said it if he was eating dinner at the restaurant. He said it after church. He said it so much that he began to teach other people how to say it and how to do other things to black people. Because he hated black people. He hated black people so much that he caught the eye of the KKK, a terrorist group. And he terrorized black people. So even though he had a conversion, I can't help but wonder, how many businesses did he burn down? How many families did he ruin? How many dreams did he destroy under the umbrella and the flag of hate? Because he went the way of his father and his father's father. That is how hate survives. That is how hate survives. You have to teach it. When are you going to stop teaching it? When are you going to stop teaching it?
You have to forward to go to that location.